can't believe it. First of all, I remember sitting this summer thinking, please have there be a football season. Please have there be a football season. And now we are headed into week 16. Guys, our time here is almost done, so let's go out with a bang. Welcome, everybody, to Talk the Line. He's Jason McIntyre. He is Colin Cowherd. You just took off your glasses. Colin, America needs to see the glasses. Put them back on now.
I don't wear these very often.
Colin was handsome before. Be prepared to jump out of your seat. Look at this guy. Unbelievable. And you should keep those glasses on because you look very astute, and your record supports that. 4-1 last week, my friend.
I am on a little bit of a heater.
Somebody find out where the fire extinguisher is on Pico and Motor, because this guy's on fire. Jason, you're okay, 2-1. And you still have the Steelers and the Bengals tonight. So let's get into all of that. As we do every week, let's take a look at this board and quickly what jumps out to you. And again, it might be a game we get into further, but just at first glance, Colin, what grabs your attention?
Rams getting to it. Seattle is the bet of the week, maybe the bet of the month. They played their worst game in 2 or 3 years. Sean McVay was livid. Went public with it. They'll have an incredibly focused week. They've matched up well against Seattle for years. Seattle won, but is really struggling offensively. I love the Rams. It's one of my favorite bets in a while. +2 against the team they match up well against. And Seattle, late in the season, you never want to go up there and face that crowd. Yeah. It's not the issue. Seattle's got one of the great home field advantages. Now it's just go play. I think Aaron Donald always gives Seattle's interior O-line huge problems.
I love that. I'm in full agreement, Colin, right off the bat. The other game I'm looking at is Arizona-San Francisco. I don't know if you guys listened to any of the Kyle Shanahan quotes, but the 49ers officially eliminated. Disappointing loss. He already named C.J. Beathard the starter here to see what he's got at the end of the season. I think he's sending his team home saying, we need to see our families for Christmas. It feels like they're kind of letting down. I like Arizona here. 500 yards of offense, Charissa, against the Eagles, and they had 2 turnovers inside the 10-yard line. This is an Arizona team that's back on track with Kyler running. They're a bet-on team going forward.
I love it. All right, here we go. We're off and running then, Colin. You just teed us up for our first discussion, so let's just go a little bit more next level on this one. We're Rams at Seattle. You guys said you both agree that you're on the Rams side on this one. Rams 5-1 in their last 6 against Seattle. They've always had their number. In fact, they've won 3 straight against Seattle. Colin, why do you think that Seattle has such a tough time with this Rams team?
Well, I think number one, Jalen Ramsey now is the perfect antidote for DK Metcalf. You can put him on an island, get single coverage. He's a physical long corner, a veteran. I also think Aaron Donald gives Seattle trouble in their center guard space. And so it's a team strength against another team's weakness. And, Seattle's defense is playing well. The under looks reasonable. I think they're right about on the number. It feels 24-20 to me is what the game feels like. But I just think I think L.A. is every bit as good as Seattle, getting points. Then I get the motivation. And I also think, there's a basic rule in the NFL. I think that was the biggest upset in the NFL this year. I think teams tend to play very well. Good teams that are humiliated play very well. It's a very focused stretch of practice. I like the Rams in a big way this week.
Yeah, full agreement, Colin. You could watch that Rams-Jets game and you just see how unprepared and uninto it the Rams were. They started 3 and out, punt blocked, interception. Like they couldn't move the football. Like they weren't dialed in. Colin used the word focused. We're going to see a real focused attack here. I think Goff will start off hot. And even though Seattle won, Charissa, again, we saw this. Seattle was not that impressive, okay? Like they just keep leaning on this run game, this insistence that Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator, wants to run the football just because Russ had a few turnover-laden games in the middle of the season. It just doesn't make sense, and they wasted away a 20-3 lead. This Seattle team, you want to love them going forward, but this is a Rams smash spot here.
It's frustrating because it was the whole let Russ cook thing. Then we let him cook, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. Our running backs are healthy again, so let's get them more involved. It's like, that's great to have your backs healthy. Have them as an option, but also the opportunity for Russ to do what he was doing, at the beginning of the year in his MVP form, which was letting him air the ball out. Anyways, is what it is. But the point total in this one, 46.5. Rams have averaged over 30 points against Seattle in their last 6 games. So also something to consider there, albeit this Seattle defense is much improved from the beginning of the year. Moving on, we're looking at the Colts and the Steelers. Of course, the Steelers will play tonight against the Bengals. We'll get to that game in a minute. But taking into consideration right now this line, 3 and a point total of 50. Colin, what side are you on and why?
Well, I'd bet Indianapolis now because the line could change tonight based on the Steelers' performance. I think Indianapolis is functioning at a better spot right now. I think they're protecting Rivers. He's playing well. I think Jonathan Taylor now, they're finding their identity. They're an evolving team. Michael Pittman's becoming a star. He's a rookie. Jonathan Taylor becoming a star. They didn't have preseason. So I love the Jonathan Taylor and Pittman draft picks. I've been saying this for months. They didn't have a preseason. So you had to wait mid-November on for their young players to kind of excel. Taylor now, who to me is the best Big Ten back, including Saquon Barkley since Ezekiel Elliott. I think he's a burner, smart kid, runs over people. I think Indianapolis is really starting to find its footing. And I think Pittsburgh's talented but has key injuries and it's kind of lost offensively. I like the Colts, a strong play here.
Okay. Little disagreement. Maybe Charissa can split it here. So the way I look at this Colts team is that they've faced a lot of bad defenses lately. I look at Rivers. He's not washed, right? 6 touchdowns, 0 picks the last 3 games. But who is he facing? The Texans' defense is a joke. The Raiders' defense is one of the worst in the league. Tennessee does not have a pass rush. What does Pittsburgh do? They get after the quarterback. Watt coming off the edge. Even the guy filling in for Bud Dupree has shown well. Joe Hayden's back tonight, their best cornerback. I think this Pittsburgh defense could give Rivers problems. I would look at the under 50 for sure. I do like how the Colts play with Pittman now. Colin, you've been all over him, the kid from USC. Their offense is dynamic, but I think they hit a bit of a wall here against Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh in a low-scoring game.
Okay, curious to see what they do tonight. If Pittsburgh doesn't cover the 13.5 or 14, depending on where you got it tonight against the Bengals. Go ahead.
Yeah, if Pittsburgh struggles tonight and the line comes down to like a 1, then that's a different line. Because this figures to be kind of low scoring, kind of choppy. Steelers-Colts would be a low scoring game.
Completely. And so if they don't cover tonight, that's 4 straight where they haven't covered. I'll be curious to see how they come out tonight. Given their last few games and everyone's sort of written them off as, the best team in the AFC, even though people still lean on Kansas City. We're moving on. Game 3. We got Bills and the Patriots. Patriots eliminated from the playoffs yesterday for the first time in 12 years. We got a Bills team, as we know and have talked about and seen, that are coming on hot at the right time. 7 here and a point total of 45. Colin?
Well, I think Buffalo's the best team in the league right now. I think New England is so limited offensively. I think actually Buffalo's the value here. Buffalo could have won that game against Denver 60-7. They were so much better than a decent team. So it's very rare that a team is favored over New England, and I think it's the value side. I thought Miami, favored by 1.5, was the value side against New England this weekend. I think they were a much better team, and they showed it. So I think Buffalo's 10 to 12 points better than New England. I think McDermott is not at a massive coaching disadvantage to Belichick. I think he's a very heady young coach. I would probably swallow the 7 and take Buffalo.
Yeah, we saw probably right there. Gilmore, the best cornerback on the Patriots, went down against Miami. That was a big loss. And you wonder about the mindset of the Patriots. 2 decades of excellence, right? They're not going to the playoffs. Cam Newton, he's not going to be there next year. Do we know if Jarrett Stidham's going to get the nod at the starting quarterback to see what he's got? I would look to Buffalo, but Colin, we've seen this before. Team gets to the playoffs, they're excited, they're geeked, and there's a bit of a letdown. This is, still the Patriots. I don't know if that carries any cachet anymore, but Buffalo played a tough one against New England earlier this year. New England had a drive inside the 20 in the final minutes and fumbled away the game. Or they win that. So I would look to Buffalo first, but I still got to wait and see what Belichick's doing with his team the rest of the way. Does he promote some rookies, get some young guys some burn, and see what he's got? But ultimately, Colin's probably right. Buffalo's aside.
Also, something else to watch, Stephon Diggs questionable with that foot injury. So that's something to consider as the week moves on. Our game 4, we're focused on, I can't wait for this game. Packers, Titans, 3.5, 55.5. in Lambeau. We're looking at 21 degrees here, 40% chance of snow. Colin, who do you like?
I'm going to put my glasses on and get really sophisticated.
America voted and they said glasses.
Well, America sometimes screws up their votes. Not this time. I think the value. I think the value here is on Tennessee. Green Bay is a team that's hard for me to fall in love with. I like physical teams, and Green Bay is such a front runner. They're great with a lead. I think you can run on Green Bay. I think the Colts did.
You can run on Green Bay.
It's 3.5. I like Tennessee. 3, I pass. I mean, to me, the hook gets me. I would take Titans. I think Green Bay probably wins narrowly, but this is one where I just look at the hook. 3.5, I'll take the Titans. I think in crappy weather, that hurts the better quarterback. If it's windy and snowy, that hurts Aaron more than it does Tennessee. So, I mean, Tannehill's also mobile. They may just do a 17 pass attempts, run at Derrick Henry, move the pocket. The weather feels like it plays to Tennessee a little bit.
So this was the second bet I made this week. The first bet I made this morning when I woke up was the Rams. Second was the over in this game, okay? Tennessee, Colin, has not had a quarterback sack in 3 weeks. They don't get to the quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is going to torch this awful secondary, but at the same time, the Packers can't get stops. We saw Bridgewater keep them in the game in the second half Saturday night. And, the Packers, their defense is just not great. The secondary, very vulnerable. Tannehill's a good quarterback, guys. He gets away from Adam Gase, and the guy's putting up monster numbers. This feels like a 37-35 type shootout, maybe in the snow. I don't have the full weather report, but it is late December, in Green Bay, and I think this could have a snow implication here. I like the over big, and I would follow Colin, as I'm doing a lot of in this show, and ride with the pack. Titans.
Colin's hot right now, and my weather report, Jason, told you that there's a 40% chance of snow. So there's that. Another number for you. The Packers defense has given up 4.5 yards per carry. Give the ball to Derrick Henry 30 times a game.
Wow.
Keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. And we know that both of these defenses are bad. So, time of possession and Derrick Henry is my play in this one. Vikings Saints is our game 5. We're looking at 7 here, with a point total of 52. Colin, from what you saw yesterday from New Orleans against Kansas City, did this change your mind on what you'll do in this game, or were you leaning?
Well, it was Drew's first game back, and he struggled predictably in the first quarter. I think New Orleans is playing for something still. I do not believe the Vikings are. New Orleans at home, I wouldn't put a lot of money. I think the number's right. I think you get a little value on New Orleans because they were pretty ugly. They really struggled on third down. I think they were 1 for 11.
Yes.
But I think New Orleans is probably the side. I don't know what Minnesota is playing for now. The Bears and the Packers look like potential playoff teams, so I would take the Saints, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Early money has come in on the Vikings. It looks like this was 8, and it went down to 7. So a couple numbers that jump out. Saints last 2 weeks, they gave up 245 yards rushing to the Eagles, 179 to the Chiefs. Dalvin Cook is among the league leaders in rushing. I think he has a lot of success. Saints had 2 big injuries yesterday. One of their safeties went down, and then Trey Hendrickson, who's tied for the league lead in sacks, left the game early injured. He had a monster game, by the way. This Saints team's a little banged up. I don't want to say they're leaking oil. That's my favorite December phrase. But something seems off about them the last 2 weeks. I don't know if it's a lack of urgency or whatnot. Now, remember, this is a revenge game from last year in the playoffs. Kirk Cousins took them down. The way this Minnesota offense has the potential to explode, if Kendricks come back defensively, I'm taking the points here with the Vikings.
That's what I'm looking at. 52. This feels like it should go over that number pretty easily. New Orleans 1-4 when favored by 7 points, or 1-4 in the last 5 when favored by 7 or more. Kyle Rudolph and Eric Kendricks are out. I think you alluded to that, Jason. All right, game 6, we're looking at the Hawaiian Bowl. This game should just be played in Hawaii. We got Marcus Mariota and Tua Tagovailoa. Dolphins, Raiders, 2.5 and 47.5. Colin, what side are you on here?
I don't get the disrespect for Miami. I've been betting Miami all year. I like Miami again. Gruden's teams 3 straight years have been bad in December. Flores last year, the Dolphins were red hot, won 5 of their last 9 for a total rebuilding team. Once again this year, the longer Brian Flores is around this team, the better they get. Miami's getting better every week. I think the Raiders are getting worse every week. Miami's my play. Their best record against the spread in the NFL. They're not flashy. There was a touchdown taken away against New England, or it could have been worse, up the sideline when the player. So I think Miami's the play here. I think they're the play. They're going to just keep. I mean, this number's strange to me.
Yeah.
This is my second favorite play of the week.
So on the look ahead, this was Raiders favored by 2.5, and then it flipped when Miami won and the Raiders lost. Somebody referred to this on social media as the Samoan Super Bowl if it's Mariota against Tua. I kind of like the ring to that. I don't know if it's culturally accurate, but it sounds cool. I'm with Colin here. Miami is 11-3 against the spread this year. If they get, and he won yesterday against the Patriots without his number 1 receiver, his slot receiver, his tight end. If they do return against a Raiders secondary that is just ghastly. I know they fired their defensive coordinator. I mean, they couldn't stop our offense of Colin at quarterback, Charissa at wide receiver, me at the slot. They couldn't shut us down. Like, seriously, I'm not even making this up. The Raiders' pass defense is atrocious. Tua will have success. And I guarantee you this, folks, we're going to come away from this game saying, man, Miami, they could make some noise in the playoffs. Keep an eye on this team because Derek Carr or Mariota, whoever starts, is not going to have success throwing the football against these cornerbacks. You can't do it.
I'm a real take the top off the defense kind of gal. Hey, Colin, didn't you play quarterback in high school?
That's why I said that, yes.
I did, and I remember, not that I'm bitter or petty, but I remember in one game, Rick Anderson was a sports writer, and it was the nicest thing he ever said about me. He said Cowherd was efficient in the win. And I'm like, oh, that's all I was. I don't know what happened to him, but I hope he's had trouble.
This is a very Al Bundy moment, right? Four touchdowns, right?
Okay, we're looking forward here. We got Philly and the Cowboys. Oh boy. Who's going to win the NFC East? Does anybody want to win the NFC East here? 1.5 and a point total of 50. Colin?
This is a really interesting game. So I watched Arizona and Philadelphia, and Arizona should have won that game by significantly more. Kyler Murray had a couple really big mistakes. So it's deceiving. Arizona was clearly better than Philadelphia. But Jalen Hurts had 3 touchdown passes to receivers, whereas Wentz could often rely on tight ends. But I look at Dallas right now, and I think San Francisco's still a competitive team. I've seen them beat the Vikings, crush the Bengals, give the Steelers trouble. And I get Dallas at home getting points for a Philadelphia team I think we're a little high on based on the closeness of the Arizona game. To Jason's point, I think Arizona's a little undervalued after that game. I think Philadelphia is a little overvalued. So I think my play here is Dallas and the over. I like both Dallas and the over.
Okay. All right.
A lot of agreement. Yeah, it's so weird. We come away from the Philly game like, oh, Jalen Hurts, he's the starter for the rest of the year. He looks good. But overall, the picture on the Eagles is not pretty. Like, their secondary, the cluster injuries we talked about last week. If you go back and run the tape, last week we said, man, this Eagles secondary is beat up. Kyler Murray throws for 400 yards. Guys, we're doing some educating here. I think Dallas is the side here. Andy Dalton, even though he didn't have Zeke, he had Tony Pollard, a lot to CeeDee Lamb. The tight end is emerging. I'm spacing on his name. This is a Dallas offense. Not to go overboard, they're not eliminated from the NFC least yet, okay? It's not totally over. If Washington lays an egg in Carolina and Dallas is able to win this game, the Giants ain't beating the Ravens. And suddenly it's, oh my gosh, Week 17, the Cowboys have a chance at the division, which, is unbelievable. Dallas is in the mix, guys, and I think they win this game against Philly.
Dallas is putting up points, back-to-back games with 30+. So if nothing else, in agreement on that point total being over 50. And kudos to Jalen Hurts. Carson Wentz said, he's not interested in being a backup. But Jalen Hurts, first player in NFL history with 500 pass yards and 150 rush yards in 2 career starts. Very impressive. Reason to be optimistic over there. All right, Steelers-Bengals is our Monday night football game. We're looking at 14.5 and 40.5 in the point total. Here, Colin.
Well, I have a couple of rules in life. One of them, I don't bet blowout games. So the first game I take off my board every week is the blowout game. That's one of my big rules in life. The second one can't be discussed on the air. So this is a stay away game for me, completely a stay away game for me.
Okay, well, that's good. We will not make you divulge that because we respect your privacy. But what's not private is James Conner, breaking news, will be out this evening, not playing. So does that change?
So if I was to bet this, I would take Cincinnati plus the points.
I don't think he impacts the line. I was thinking of skipping this game and just going and Christmas caroling at Colin's house. You know, bringing my kids out, singing songs. Because, this is going to be a whitewash, okay? Pittsburgh is going to destroy them. Guys, Ryan Finley's the starting quarterback tonight. This is how bad he is. He replaced Joe Burrow against Washington earlier this year. He had 25 total yards in the second half in 21 plays. He was so bad they called up a guy from the practice squad, Brandon Allen, to take his job. Now they're so desperate because Allen's hurt. Finley's got to start again, okay? Since Burrow went down, Cincinnati has 3 offensive touchdowns in 14 quarters. They can't move the football. Now they're facing Pittsburgh off 2 losses. This feels like 27-0, 30-6, something along those lines. Take Pittsburgh in the under and listen to me singing Christmas carols at Colin Cowherd's house.
I'll listen to you break that line down right there. I enjoyed every bit of that. What is your favorite holiday song, Jason?
Can I go with the Mariah Carey one? Come on. Charissa, I know you know Mariah Carey's Christmas song. No, the song by Mariah Carey. Come on.
Colin's a big Oh Holy Night kind of guy. Okay, as I do every week, I got a prop bet in this one. If you want to stay away from the line or the point total, I'm going Bengals team total under 12.5 points for all the reasons, Jason, you just so astutely laid out for everyone. Bengals under 10 points in the last 4 of 5 of their games, and the offense has scored 3 total touchdowns in 3 games. Colin, we got a fan question for you, and we appreciate you guys sending these in every week. The lucky winner this week is Carrie T, and the question is, Colin, how do you look at double-digit spreads? They almost always make me take the underdog, but then again, there's a reason they are getting so many points.
Carrie, my rule has always been just take that one off the board. I never bet the big spreads. I didn't bet the Rams, because prime example, Rams-Jets. A lot of people had the Rams, and my takeaway was Jets are a bad team that played their worst game of the year. How are you going to inspire your high-end players in a week of practice watching the Jets? I'm like, just get out of that game. I tend to look for good quarterbacks getting points. Like this weekend, Jared Goff getting points. That's value. I get a good coach, a good quarterback getting points. I get Tannehill and Mike Vrabel getting 3.5. There's value there. I always said this. I like to bet games I'll watch. Betting an awful team, praying they can keep it close. I got better things to do, starting with cocktails.
Yeah. Again, is that a Long Island iced tea or just an iced tea? We'll never know. You guys are the best. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Talk the Line. As always, we will see you next week for what I believe is our final show, unless you guys vote and want us to just keep going,
I want to go already all year long. What?
Goodbye, everybody. Bye, guys. Have fun caroling.